An ultimatum is a waste of time. It is simply violence. The question itself is so loaded with foolishness. Women think they know how to set boundaries, but they don't.
And here's the thing, women. Once you've said it, you can't unsay it.
Hello and welcome back to the Black Swan Life podcast here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, where we teach you, ladies and gentlemen, how to do life and love the Black Swan way. So I have with me my esteemed colleague, Coach Yvonne. And some of you are thinking, where are the other guests? Why is it just you two boring people? I know, that's not nice.
Nobody thinks
well, we'll
we're
check
boring.
the comments and see.
Oh yes, there is that.
I've got to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that this is going to be a podcast that's really about education, learning, and growing. It's really not going to be a salacious space and place where you get to hear your best celebrities share the things you've already heard them say to you on the internet. I will invite guests, of course, that I feel like will add value, that will help with the educational process. But we have an amazing team of coaches here who have expertise and experience, who we really want to teach you how to do things the Black Swan way. And like I've said before, it's an elite group of human beings, and so you're not going to get a lot of this teaching everywhere. So we're going to try and keep it as simple in-house as possible, and we will bring in guests now and again. But if you're looking for a podcast where there's a brand new guest every single week, this is not going to be that one, but you will definitely find that there will be information, learning, and topics that will elevate your life to the next level. If you like the sound of that, don't forget to subscribe, like, and possibly even share this video. But we definitely need you to like this video so that the algorithm can let the good news of the Black Swan way be out there in the world. Now that I've said all of that, if you've been watching our series where we've been in the comments, we have spent a lot of time. We sat down pretty much for a whole day, went through all of the comments, all of the questions, and we chose the questions in the comments from you, Black Swans, that we feel that a lot of people struggle with and a lot of people can learn from. And it can be comforting to the community to know you're not alone. Somebody else has that question and asked it. We want to encourage you to ask your questions in the comments. We want you to leave a comment so that we know how you feel, how you're growing, how you're learning. We get to check up on you in the comments. So this comment section is where it's all going to be at. And I'm going to start by asking Coach Yvonne a question, because she's been asking me all the questions. She's been, using that radio voice to ask me all the questions. So I'm going to ask a question, and this is from the video that was done by our coach Edwina, which was why a high value feminine woman does not give an ultimatum. Okay, I love that title. And so Ayashaya Verlery. Oh goodness, where'd you come up with these handles, ladies?
Tongue twisters.
Like, I'm a simple girl, but I apologize for not getting that right. 340 asks if she's given an ultimatum. I've given an ultimatum. If you've given an ultimatum in a relationship, can you come back from it? Can it still be saved? What are your thoughts, Coach Yvonne?
My thoughts are on this one where we saw the question. I thought it was, number one, I applaud you for, letting us know that you might have done this and, you may be waiting for the outcome.
Right.
But because we don't have a lot of information about what the ultimatum is, what I'm going to start off by saying is, here's the thing. I believe that any relationship can be saved. Right. Doesn't matter what it is the person have done, whether they've cheated, if it happens to be, that they were violent, or whatever the situation is, any relationship can be saved. However, both parties have to want it, and both parties need to be prepared to do the work so that the relationship can be saved.
Absolutely.
So that's the first thing.
Right.
The second thing is, because we don't know what the ultimatum is, it depends on what the ultimatum is that you gave him.
Right.
Is it that he was seeing somebody else and you said the ultimatum is, if you don't stop seeing her, then it is over.
Right.
If that's the ultimatum that you gave him, and he thinks, but I like her though. and you say, you know what, I'm not going to, he says, forget it, I'm going to stay with her, then you've got to follow through.
Right.
And, if you say that you're going to leave, then you're going to have to leave. But if you cannot give somebody an ultimatum in a relationship and expect to get your own way in it, it's not the way, especially for a black swan, to communicate. Remember, we're feminine. We are the ones that, in a home or in a relationship, we actually run it. Men take the lead from us in the way in which we want to be treated, because you've worked on yourself. You know your likes and your dislikes. You've set your boundaries. He knows them.
Right.
And so if you're living up to your end of how you presented when you first met, when you first started dating, and the two of you got together because of it, then you've got to continue that way. And if you have changed in, certain ways, unless you've changed for the better, then great, he should also change with you.
Yes.
But if you haven't, and whatever has gone wrong, and you think, okay, what do I do here? Then there's going to be difficulty ahead. If it's something that you're asking about, can the relationship be saved? Whatever it is, you gave this ultimatum. It could have been a knee-jerk reaction, and
right.
you have given it. And here's the thing, women, once you've said it, you can't unsay it. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much you apologize.
Right.
From now until the cows come home, you can't unsay it. He
right.
can't unhear it.
Right.
And so it could be a case of where he says, you know what, don't care, do what you think is going to be right.
Right.
I'm not changing, I'm not
right.
doing. Or you could then take the stand and say, you know what, I'm a black swan. I shouldn't have done it. I've apologized. There's not much more I can do other than doing that. Then what you've got to do is show him the very, very, very best version of you, to let him know that, you know what, I've made a mistake. I'm sorry for the mistake I've made. Let us try and communicate. Let us communicate our wants, our needs, our desires, and let's see if we can continue on the road that we're going in rebuilding
right.
the relationship in a stronger and a better place, because communication at the end of the day from both of you is going to play an important part here. So I'm hoping that the communication between the two of them have not come to a standstill, where he's here, she's there, and nothing is going on, and that they are still able to communicate, and she can demonstrate by her actions, because actions speak louder than words, that, you know what, I'm really sorry and I shouldn't have done it. But don't grovel. Never grovel.
I'll tell you what, it's I agree, and I think that comes after getting to that point where you can say, you know what, oops, I made a mistake. That comes with a lot of maturity.
Yes.
But the question itself is so loaded with foolishness. I'm sorry, I shouldn't judge. Okay, let's rephrase that. Ultimatums are inexperienced. Thank you, Coach Yvonne. You see, that's why I need her, because me, I cut to go straight for the jugular. Let's be clear about certain things first, so that those people who think ultimatums are the best way forward
yes.
Can learn before we make this mistake where we're trying to save a relationship after we've issued an ultimatum. An ultimatum is classified as violent communication.
Yes.
Whenever we communicate to another person with an ultimatum, we are being violent. And because we think violence is just physical, violent communication is enforcing your will over and above the will of the other person. And violent communication is, if you won't do it my way, I'm out. If you don't, you threaten with abandonment, you're threatening with neglect, you are threatening with consequences, and you are making the other person feel compelled to give you something that is not coming from their heart. all of that kind of communication style, which we talk about in how to talk to men so they listen. In that masterclass, I teach you how to communicate to men so they listen.
Yes.
It's very aptly named,
Yes.
isn't it? And I talk about non-violent communication with men. Now, here's the thing. If you give a man an ultimatum, it means that you have terrible boundaries.
Yes.
You've got to this point because you didn't set boundaries well. And women think they know how to set boundaries, but they don't. And if they are setting boundaries, they're doing it in a violent way, in an aggressive way. Men don't take kindly to violence. Here's the thing. You can trigger protection in a man, or you can trigger fight in a man. Whatever you speak to in a man, you will get back from him. Yes. If you speak to the fool in him, you get a fool back. If you speak to the king in him, you will get a king back. It goes both ways, but mainly with men. Ultimatums are the highest form of disrespect, and it's violent. And so a man is going to make you stand upon your ultimatum. Yes. Let me tell you something about men. You tell him, if you don't do this, he will not budge. Yeah. He will make you eat that, sleep in that, and follow through with that. Because men respect actions.
Yes.
They don't respect chit chat. So your behind better follow through. Okay? You can't be telling him, if you don't marry me, I'm out of here. And then, because that's usually what ultimatums are. If you don't commit to me, if you don't stop seeing her, whatever the story is. If a man does anything that would make you feel that it is necessary to give him an ultimatum, what you're ultimately saying is that a boundary has been violated or a need has not been met. If a boundary has been violated, let's talk about the boundary and let's reset things. Whether that boundary is he went and cheated, or whether that boundary is, he won't marry you and it's 25 years down the line. Right? Let's have conversations around, whether that boundary is violence, physical violence, like you said.
Yes.
Let's have a conversation about that. Let's say, this is loving, so violent communication is, if you don't do what I say, you are going to get A. Loving, healthy communication is, you have every right to do that, say that, be that. It makes me feel, when you do that, say that, I feel this way. I'm going to own my emotions around this. What do you think we can do to fix it?
Yes.
That's mature communication.
It's mature communication 100%. And that only works if you're speaking with a masculine man.
100%.
If your man is a feminine with feminine energy, you're on your own. Because Houston,
bitch.
We have a problem.
Yes.
Because what's going to happen is he's going to come out with all guns blazing.
100%.
And you better take cover,
yes.
because it's not going to work.
And a mature man.
Yes.
A mature man, well, we're hoping that we're out here choosing mature men, right? Because... there's a lot of immaturity. But a mature man a mature masculine man, like you said, because men generally feel responsible for women's emotions, and men are happier, they love making the woman they've chosen happy. So if you can give him the roadmap to making you happy, he's honestly going to be okay with that. If he never loved you in the first place and you are the placeholder for when he's going to find his real wife... Again, maybe they didn't hear me saying that because I was laughing. But if you're just the one who's holding the space for the real wife, he's not going to listen to you because your emotions don't matter to him. He might pacify you with a little something so you don't go away because he doesn't want to lose his sexual stability.
Yes.
If you're not the woman that he chose because his heart loves, you're going to have a hard time. If he's a feminine energy guy, and like I said, remember, feminine energy men, they're not stable and they live in their emotions. He's not going to be able to handle your emotions because he can't create the masculine frame for you because your emotions are an accusation on his manhood. And so his emotions will come out full blast, and then you have these toxic fights. Have you had those couples doing It's because the masculine has failed to create boundaries and containment. Hey swans, I have some incredibly exciting news. I'm going to be giving away 3 exclusive products, absolutely free, each designed to help bring your dream partner into your life. If you sign up to the email list, you'll receive 6 emails over 6 days, and tucked within 3 of these emails will be your special gifts. It's all just a click away. So press the link, sign up, and let's embark on this journey together. And remember, above all, you are loved. And in a home where peace prevails, it is because the man, not the woman. Now, a mature woman is a habitation of peace. But even if she's not mature and she's with a masculine man who's mature, he's able to create containment.
Yes.
In the form of, I'm not comfortable with you speaking. I don't like it when you speak to me that way. So maybe we should end this conversation and come back to it later. This is how a leader leads, right? And because many men, again, don't know how to lead a family, even themselves, because they didn't have fathers for the most of them, or they're being led or fathered by the internet, which is disastrous.
Yes.
So in this instance with this young lady, she's failed to communicate the little foxes. The Bible says it's the little foxes that spoil the vine. When we let transgressions build up over time, because we don't know how to communicate in a loving way, we end up at a place where we're giving an ultimatum.
Yes.
The bottom line is this: never issue an ultimatum if you can just walk away.
Yes.
We don't honestly need to disrespect each other. Yeah. We don't even need the drama. We don't need the violence. We can just simply say, especially if we've been communicating over a period of time, this is not working for me.
Yeah.
It's really been good knowing you, and I don't want us to end in a toxic situation. And I want you to have every right to explore your options, right? So I found a place if you're living together, I found a place and I'm moving out. We don't need the drama.
Yes.
As the thing with us is especially women, men too now, because they're in their feminine. It used to be a woman's game, but there are a lot of men who are very chaotic because they're in that feminine energy. But I want to normalize what I call sweet goodbyes. We don't have to wait for drama. We don't have to wait for toxicity. We don't have to wait for violations. If I've communicated that doesn't work for me in a loving way, and your partner persists, male or female, an ultimatum is a waste of time. It is simply violence. We don't do that. And it's also an act of desperation. You don't want to go. You just want him to behave differently. You don't want to follow through. You just want to put fear in him. How are you going to have a loving relationship that has fear on the throne?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
A man can't love you because he's afraid to lose you. He has to love you because he does.
Yeah. It's the
podcast
in previous podcasts that we've done regarding communication is so important.
Right.
And when you speak about how to talk to men so that they will listen, it is not for women to think, oh, they're saying that I don't know how to talk to a man. No, we're not saying that you don't know how to talk to a man, because there are 2 things that we need to do here. One, it's the tone in which you use when you're conveying what it is that you're doing, because we hear ourselves in our head. It's the person sitting opposite us that hears the tone and feels the weight of what is communicated to them. And as you said about the violence of an ultimatum, that's what the person felt when you did that. Now, what we teach women is not to fight, but to stroke. It's not to, to go for the jugular,
to strike, but to stroke. That's your thing.
Yes.
Don't strike him,
don't
stroke him.
Because my mother taught me from a young age that you catch the fly with honey, never with vinegar. So if you want somebody to do something for you, then guess what? You use the honey, because he's going to come to you. And so you don't need to stroke. Am I saying that all men know how to do this? They will, if we continue doing it enough.
That's
because learning has to begin somewhere. And because of the way in which people communicate nowadays and how people are brought up, it's different to the way back when our parents were being brought up to today, because we said earlier, it's TV that's doing it for most of them. Most households are one-parent household, that is, mum is working and trying to take care of the children. The children are bringing themselves up. The TV's bringing the children up. The government's bringing the children up. Everybody's doing it but the parents.
Right.
So something is going to go awry with the child. But there is nothing to say that the child cannot still learn. The adult now can still learn.
The adult can learn.
We can learn. And so the way in which we do that is to get on the Black Swan Relationship Academy website and look at the different courses that we've got there, because all the courses that are there, everything that we've spoken about, the
today, hours and hours of training.
Yes. And the beauty of that is it's things that you don't have to join a class. You can just sit and listen to it whilst you're cooking, doing whatever it is you're doing at home. You can listen to it and listen and pay attention. Do the work that is necessary, and you will know how to stroke and not strike. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that benefits from it. You're the one that's going to go away with a relationship that works. And if it's a friend who said, tell him this, and you do it, shame on her. And shame on you for listening. Listen to the people who know what they're talking about. And so that, it will go well with you and in your relationship.
100%. The amount of relationships that are destroyed, especially amongst women, I don't know what's wrong with us. We just keep submitting our relationships to other women.
Yes.
And to the point where some of our husbands no longer trust us. Because everything that happens in this house is known by Jane, Sally, Sue, and and I think I've got a video on this channel where I talk about a man needing to trust you. Some men are living with women they just don't trust because you run. Nothing comes authentically from you. And, one of the things that women need to understand is that we're very jealous and competitive when it comes to men. I know we like to do girl power, women united. But trust me, some of this advice I have that's out here is to destroy your relationship.
Yes.
I'm sorry to have to break it to you, girl, but some of this advice you're getting from your girlfriends is to destroy your relationship. And your husband married you, your partner is dating you, not you and your friends.
Yes.
And the amount of men that I've sat with in my practice who have told me about the problem with the sister, who was part of the relationship, the cousin, the friends.
Yes, the mother.
And the thing is, we go to each other because we're looking for some support, but you don't have to do that anymore. I mean, that's not your only option now. We've got the Black Swan Relationship Academy who will help you. And to finalize this question, because I know we can be here for forever, like you said, have a conversation, like Coach Yvonne said, have a conversation and humble yourself enough to apologize. And to be vulnerable with him and let him know that actually I just felt afraid that, I was losing you or whatever. And I really wanted to work or whatever the situation is. And then give him space. But we don't know your particular situation. So this advice might be the worst thing to do. Yeah. But I always believe that if we are prepared, male and female, to say sorry.
Yes. And mean it.
We will repair many a relationship.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of pride that gets in the way. Yeah. And what we don't do is own the fear of losing him. Whatever made you give that ultimatum has a lot to do with you and less to do with him.
Yes.
Regardless of what he has done, it tells me you're disconnected from self. You're disconnected from your truest desires. You self-abandon, and maybe you've been self-abandoning for a long time. Whenever I see fruit, I know that there is root, and there is, a seed that was sown a long time ago, and a root that was established, and a stem that came out of that. So I like to work backwards with my clients so that if we can go into the root, maybe we can fix the roots, and then maybe the fruit will come out differently. Yes. So it's so much easier to go begging, but maybe that wasn't even the right relationship for you to be in the first place. Because we shouldn't, if we're in healthy relationships, we shouldn't feel like we have to coerce, drag somebody's son up the aisle kicking and screaming. Like so many women are just so happy to drag some poor woman's son up the aisle kicking and screaming.
Yes.
When a man loves you, is internally motivated.
Yes.
When a man wants you, he's internally motivated. You don't have to drag him.
Yes.
He will compel himself. He will move in that direction. And it's okay to say, look, the way you're moving, the way you're acting is a demonstration to me that it's not me you want. And that's okay. But I'm going to go and find somebody who wants me. And that's okay too. And, we don't have to end up as enemies. Yes. We can still be friends. We can still see each other cross the road and smile. Yes. We don't have to cross road. And what we end up doing is doing these ultimatums. And then we have this toxic energy between us. And then you go off and, you can't find a new boyfriend. You can't find a new love because you're carrying all of this harm. So, a little bit of education, a bit of learning, 2 hours of sitting through and doing a course, or 4 hours or 12 hours, depending on the course, will save you so much pain and suffering.
That's so true.
Next question. Do you want to ask the question, Coach Yvonne?
No, it's okay. You can go ahead because...
Okay, so the question is, who is a low-value man? And that was from 6 Ways a High-Value Woman Can Look Desperate and Needy, the video that I did. 6 Ways a High-Value Woman Can Look Desperate and Needy. And underneath it was the question, what is a low-value man? Coach Yvonne,
would you like to start?
What is a low-value man?
Where does one begin? Hold on.
Okay, I'll go. No, I won't go. You will go.
Just give me one second.
Are you ready?
Let me just get... I think when we talk about low-value men, there's so many things that this... images that come to mind, right. When you speak of somebody that's low value, because here's the thing, culture, your culture and mine is different from the one over there and the one over there, etc. Right. So what's low value looks low value to me. In your culture, you're paying me the highest.
You're giving me the best value man ever.
Do you get, but yeah. I don't know your culture. Right. You don't know mine. That's one. And what our own expectation of a person, whether it's sometimes out of our stratosphere, we want to aim for the, Mount Everest, when really we can only manage the little mound in the garden, but right. we aim high. And because he doesn't come up to our level, we think, oh, he's low value. Right. So in order to answer the question, what is a low value man? If you speak to 100 women, you're going to get 100 different answer, right. because it all depends, I believe, on what it is that woman wants from her man. Right. So if you're looking for a masculine man who's going to provide for you, who is going to, be able to pay for the home, make sure everything is okay, the children are taken care of, everything that his wife wants, she's got it, or his partner wants, it's all there for her. Right. He's got space for her. They do date night. They do all the wonderful things that, men are supposed to do for women. Then, yay, that's great. But then you've got the other one who wants to do all of these things, but he's not able to, because right now he's not, earning enough money. He's just living in maybe a room in somebody's home. Mm-hmm. He's subletting from somewhere, and he's doesn't have a 6-figure job. He just brings minimum wage home. It doesn't mean he's not a good man. It just means that I can't give you the level that you want at the moment. Right. But, somewhere down the line, when he finishes the degree and all the things that he's planning on doing, then yes, he can do that. Right. And a low value man, somebody who, I don't swear, I don't care. I don't see a situation where bad language is necessary, genuinely don't. So if I'm sitting in front of a person, a man, and we're having a conversation, and he's effing and F this and F all, for me, that's low value. In the presence of a low value man. Very much, seriously, very much so. Yeah. Because I genuinely believe that if you have language and you learn, you know how to communicate, then you don't need to swear. It's people who don't know how to communicate, use swear words out of frustration because they don't know another word to use. For me, that is low value. A woman's listening to this and she's thinking, woman, you're mad.
Exactly.
You
crazy.
have gone, a low value man is somebody who wants me to do 50-50, somebody who doesn't put down, he disrespects me and he does it. All of these things, yes, you're right. And that's why, that's what I started off by saying. What do you want? Whatever it is that you want from your man and he doesn't do it, it's low value for you.
Right.
I don't want my man swearing at me. For me, that's low value. I want my man to, when I come home, he comes home from work, wherever I am in the house, he comes, he finds me, he hugs me. How was your day? Oh, I had a really great day. He goes off and does what he's doing and come back. Now, if he doesn't do that, am I saying that that's a low value man? Or have I not communicated? Have I not laid the boundaries from the beginning?
Absolutely. I agree. I think low value man, high value man, I think that there's quite a bit of a degree of subjectivity to that. I think that you have to look at your core needs.
Yes.
You have to look at your non-negotiables. You have to look at your desires. And if he doesn't meet any of those, then he's low value for you. It's high value for some other woman.
Yes,
right?
Very much so.
I think, though, that when we use it in culture and when we use it in the relationship space, the term low value really has to do with a man who... And this, there's a definition for low value woman, but that's not the question. We're not talking about women at this point. But a low value man is really a man that cannot fulfill certain masculine obligations, and does not want to. Because I think there's a difference between a man that wants to provide but can't, and a man that doesn't think it's his place to. Right?
Yes.
Then suddenly, biblically, that would be a low-value man. God calls that person, what does it call him? More evil than, I don't know a man that doesn't look after his family, I think I actually forget the specificity of the scripture, but it says something like he's more evil than the most evilest person in the world. Depending on your standard and how you look at life, there's certain basic masculine responsibilities. If a woman wants to have a family and have children, she can't do that and work and raise healthy children. And so for her, a man that cannot do that, cannot provide that frame, would be low value. But I think in general, I would say a low value man is a man that doesn't care to love you. I think that we should really all universally be in agreement that if a man is unwilling to cherish you, if a man is unwilling to be there for you and attempt to meet your needs as much as, obviously your needs are reasonable, that would be a man. Why are you adding that to your life? So I think, it's definitely the swearing, the stuff that's very specific to who you are as a woman. But ultimately, I think if a man takes responsibility for himself and for the woman and children that he has, or for the woman that he has, even if he doesn't have any children, if he's a man that takes responsibility, if he doesn't take responsibility, he's low value. If he never takes accountability for his actions, he's low value. If he can't lead, he's low value. In that he's not bringing any real value to you as a woman. He's not elevating your existence on the planet.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm in agreement with you. What I want to ask is, when you say if he's not taking care of you, if he's not doing all the things that he's supposed to do, I've lost my train of thought. Is it a case of then he is behaving the way he's behaving because nobody ever taught him that this is what you do?
Absolutely.
And also, just to buttress that point, women nowadays, or maybe not women nowadays, because I'm doing Me Too, I have a man. I'm okay with that. So because he has got a person and he's behaving that way, she may not see it as low value. She's got a man. He's, sits at home all day and does nothing. I've got a great job. I can take care of the kids, but I've got a man. Does that make him still low value?
Not to her. She obviously feels that he's bringing some value, right?
Because why I asked the question, didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Why I asked the question is that when low value is like, we bandied the word about. It's like, he's in feminine energy. And when we say that, actually, what we're really saying is you're just acting like a woman. And we use it to, beat the person with, as you just said, it's violent communication. And we use, the feminine energy thing to a man when we really want to know what we think about it. So, the low value thing, is that also being used as a way of...
As a weapon.
Violent communication to him, because you hear it so much now, whereas 5 years ago, you never heard the term low value or high value for that matter. That wasn't around. If it was whispered.
Yeah.
And now, everywhere you go, he's low value, he does this. He's low value, he does that.
Right.
And so...
Absolutely. I think we've weaponized a lot of things in the digital space. I think, we've weaponized the whole world. I mean, nothing is what it used to be, I think that, there's definitely a subjective element for sure, which is what you're talking about. And there's definitely a malicious attempt to manage each other's behavior. I think that we all need to be authentic enough to say what's really on our mind and really on our heart. And sometimes we're lazy, emotionally lazy. I think it's okay to say, I am disappointed that this man did not behave as a gentleman. Or say to him, I'm disappointed. I was expecting more gentlemanly behavior. Then you're just a low value man. And I think we're getting lazy with language, where it's easier to label people than to address the particular issue for you. And I think if we all took that extra bit of time to address the particular issue, you're not working, whatever, then we probably wouldn't need these terms. And we also have to understand that not only have these terms been weaponized, they've also been monetized. I hate putting on the title high value man. That's why I always say Black Swan men or Black Swan women, because it's just a broader definition. But unfortunately, if you don't put high value on your title, the YouTube algorithm will, these are buzzwords, right? So if you want the views or if you want the attention, you use the buzzword. And we've all been trapped because of the monetization of words and phrases. And so low value has been monetized and it has been, weaponized. So now you have to use a phrase that is weaponized in order to get the attention so you can monetize, right? It's a kind of a dynamic that has been set in motion in the digital space. And I think we are becoming a very, very emotionally violent society. And we are forgetting that we're always dealing with a human being.
Yes.
And they cannot be defined by you are high, you are low, you are medium. And I think our attempt to understand each other in relationships in that form is actually what is the demise of relationships.
Yeah,
so absolutely agree with you.
I agree.
And that will be the end of our questions for this segment. We will see you again on our next podcast here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Don't forget to subscribe. And we will see you on our next podcast. Take care of you. Bye-bye. Bye.